Hi there and welcome to my channel. Today's project is for the VICKI BOUTIN design team, and this time we're still playing with the monthly challenge, the color challenge that Vicky has on her community page on Facebook, and also with we have pair up with Just Nick Studios this month, so we're using some of the cut files in some of our projects. This time I'm using the Word paintbrush cut file, I believe it's called, and it's this set of paintbrushes that have words in it. And what I wanted to do is bring the same idea to the background. So what I'm doing right now is scribbling some white art crayon on my craft mat, and I'm going to use the matte acrylic gel. And I saw the last Facebook Live by Vicky a couple weeks ago, and she used it for a resist. And I wanted, the reason why I mixed it with the white crayon is because I wanted it to pop on the background. You're going to see why in a little bit. You saw probably, I'm going to use black to cover the background. So I think if I use white, is gonna pop the details that I want to add. So I said, like I said before, I mixed the gel with some of the white crayon, and I'm just gonna, once I mixed it really well, I'm gonna run it through the script stencil. And I'm running it through this stencil because I wanted to mimic the paintbrush strokes they have the words. So I thought, you know what, I want to bring this, I want to tie this all together. And again, I'm just putting it through the stencil, like I said, on the page. It's gonna be covered a lot by everything, but there's little peaks of it along the way, and that's all I wanted. Now, one of the things about matte gel, it takes a little longer to dry than gesso or acrylic paint. So I just set it aside to dry for a little bit and start working on the next part of the layout. And as you saw right now, I pulled my phone because I have the picture of all the colors that Vicky's using on her challenge, and it's blue Hawaiian, juicy pear, coral macaroon, and sugar strawberry. So all I'm doing is I'm using the acrylic paint, watering it down as a watercolor, and I'm going to use my brayer to add color on top of the word paint strokes. And I cut this out of foundation paper. So if you're going to cut them in the foundation paper, just be mindful to set your silhouette, in this case, to do a double pass, because it's kind of thick, so you don't want to hurt your blade, and you want to make sure it cuts through the paper. Once I did that, like you see, I just jumped the brayer, like, you know, rolling jumps, because I wanted to get the watercolor look onto the paint, onto the die cut. And what I did for the second, some of them, is I just watered it down and just kiss the cardstock onto the paint, and that's about it. And I'm not going to show you everything, but I did all of them in all the colors that are in the challenge. Once I had that ready, and I knew what the hello and the love were going to be my title, I just didn't want to leave the paintbrushes by themselves. So I want to bring some detail. And the best way to pop the color in this case was to bring some detail through stencils and art crayons. So all I'm doing is using the stencil brush, and I'm scribbling the corresponding crayons onto my craft mat, and then just picking up the color with the stencil brush and putting it through on the paintbrush, on the die cuts in this case, through a stencil. And I'm choosing flowers for the pink and some butterflies too, and some of the dangles, and also the circles for the blue and the green. One of the things that I wanted to get that definition to the edges of these cutouts. So what I'm doing is the same thing you will do with the ink, you know, when you kind of detail the edges. I'm using the same thing with the brush and the crayon, and it actually is a faster way than actually inking the edges, because you just run the brush around the edge, and the color goes really nice, really smooth, really fast, and you don't have to be as careful as when you with ink, you know, in case you're gonna smudge. Like I said before, loved super simple, and it did take a little bit of time because I went through color by color, but it gave me enough time until the gel dried to do all of this. Remember that acrylic paint dries really fast, and once the crayon goes in, it's gonna pretty much be set, so it's gonna take you no time. And it brings a little bit of detail and actually adds more of the color, because once I added the acrylic paint onto the cardstock, it actually mutes a little bit because the cardstock is really white. So this is just gonna bring all the color back into the die cut, and that's about it. I set them aside, and I'm gonna start working actually on the background completely. And like you see right now, I'm just have an idea where I want everything. So what I'm going to do right now is going to bring out the watercolor set, and I'm going to choose black. One of the reasons that I think people are afraid of black, I love it. It pops everything out nicely. And I'm using a black and white picture. And I find that when you put a black and white picture on top of black background, it actually pops. So what I'm doing right now again is I want to mimic what the cutouts look like. So I'm just watering down the watercolor. Sounds really redundant, sorry. And I'm using the one of the widest paintbrushes just to create strokes along the line. Just like following the same direction of the strokes. And as you see right now, I'm just like going along the way, trying to just to cover the area where I had put the gel mat, the script through the stencil. All I'm doing is that. And once I have that done, and I don't care if it's dark in some places are gonna be lighter, it's okay. Like I don't want a complete coverage. It's one, like I said, but I want to make sure that the edges are showing those you can say the brush marks. Once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna put a little bit more water, and then just add a few splatters along the way. Before it dries though, you're gonna see that I'm gonna bring a baby wipe, and I'm just gonna start buffing the script. And that's one of the reasons why I put white crayon mixed with the chalk, because I want this to pop in the black background. If I had left them with no white crayon, it would not be as bright as it is right now. And that's about it. Like I said, simple. And I set this aside to dry. Now what that was, it took a little bit to dry. What I'm gonna do till that dries is finish working on the paintbrushes. And I'm doing is I want to detail the words in the paintbrushes. For that, I am adding a little bit of vellum right behind the part of the paintbrush that has the word. Once that's ready, I never throw away my negative pieces until I'm done with the project. And in this particular case, I kept them because if you see the words inside, they have no details in the H and the E and the L's. So all I'm doing right now is you're gonna see is I'm gonna bring the positive part, the hellos and everything, and I'm just gonna start taking out the little pieces and gluing them back on top of the vellum. And then I'm gonna bring some of the acrylic just to add color to those little pieces. As simple, just use one of the water brushes, and I'm just coloring it. It took like 1 or 2 coats to get the right colors, but that was about it. And I set it aside to dry, and everything like pretty much after that comes together really, really fast. And like I said, I had an idea, like I had played with the paintbrushes, so I knew where everything was gonna pretty much be seated. And all I'm doing right now is popping, adding foam adhesive behind the words, the hello and love, which is gonna be the title of this layout, just to pop them in the background. And I know I'm gonna tack the picture on top of the hello paint stroke. After that, all I'm gonna do is start gluing all the other paintbrushes, and I'm also not just glue it, but I'm gonna use some foam adhesive in like every other one, so that I create some type of movement and also dimension onto this layer. And that's about it. One of the things that I do is I had an exo little paint splatter pretty much that came in the die cut, and I kept it at the top. And I what I did is I cut one of the longer die cuts just to make it seem like that was on top of it. And that's about it. After that, I just added a few elements behind the picture just to create a cluster on the top right corner. I thought it needed one. There was a lot of empty space there, and it actually works really well. And this picture of my kids, we decided one day to take this picture, and they were playing around, and for some reason my son leaned over to kiss his sister's or my daughter's head, and you know what, I snapped a picture because that happens very rare in this house. Usually there's yelling and screaming and bickering, and I love this picture. I've already it's one of the pictures that's gonna go into each one of my kids' albums, so I already scrapped it twice. One for me, this is my daughter's version, and there'll be a male version for my son, which will happen someday in the near future. After that, I'm just adding some little details as you see, and what I'm gonna do is add some of the rose gold. I diluted it with some water, and all I'm doing is adding some splatters around the edges, like, you know, like add to the messiness factor of the black watercolor splatters. And what I'm gonna do too is add a little bit of sparkle to that watercolor sticker that I put atop the picture. And all I'm doing is lightly running some of this diluted glaze as watercolor on the watercolor sticker. That's about it. And after that, I just added some the date and some stamp images. Not loving this. I think I shouldn't have, but it's okay. I don't hate it either. And I just added some of the rotary sentiment to the green paint stroke. It says love this. And after that, that's it, guys. These are some of the close-up. I love how this layout came out. It was fun. A few techniques, super simple. Check out Vicky's stuff. It's amazing. I always say that, but it is really amazing. Check out also the cut files from Just Nick. Nicole has beautiful cut files in her store. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I would love to help you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in a little bit. Take care, guys.